Welcome back to the CONVO Couch. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And over there we have Jonny Sue on the ones and twos. Fam, breaking news.
Ones and twos, fam. Breaking news. As of literally like 1 minute.
Has it been 1 minute?
It's been... Okay.
All right, we got to get this up, though. But remember when we told people, fam, on this show, our last show, that just be chill, just be calm. Just give the burn man a chance. Just relax. We know you're expecting something. We know the people who were disappointed from the whole debate situation that Bernie didn't say anything. But now we have a situation where the man stood up. Right, fam?
Right, fam.
Let's do it. Let's talk about this. Let's go.
So breaking news.
Ching, show me a Coke.
Bernie has officially spoken out against the smearing of Tulsi Gabbard, of course, and
retweeting it.
People are retweeting this right now because he just put this up, and people were afraid he wasn't going to speak out. You know, I know he's being advised to kind of be very careful about what he says and kind of not be so against the establishment, but he actually said Tulsi Gabbard has put her life on the line to defend this country. People can disagree on issues, but it is outrageous for anyone to suggest that Tulsi is a foreign asset. And with this quote, he also, says, okay, you can disagree with her, but that doesn't mean that it's okay to call her a Russian asset.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm so happy on this. We just had to wait. I knew he was going to say something about this stuff. There's only, once again, I hate to quote the late Mr. Leahy, but there's a shit line. And once you cross that shit line, Bobbles, you're not going back. And not for nothing, Hillary Clinton crossed the shit line big time. Yes, I thought Bakari Sellers crossed the shit line.
Oh, yeah.
But we knew Bakari Sellers as what we call a proxy of Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is Elizabeth Warren a proxy of Hillary Clinton?
I believe that Tulsi was referring to Elizabeth Warren. I cannot confirm that. Mm-hmm. But I genuinely believe she was referring to her, to Harris, and to all of the establishment candidates that were out there, like praising Hillary, talking about her legacy and all of these things. I think that could be applied to many people, but I do think that in a way, because Warren is meeting with Hillary Clinton, because she is supported by the majority of her supporters, and now a lot of the Harris supporters are running into the Warren campaign, I think by definition, she is exactly a proxy.
Yeah, well, I can tell you who's not a proxy. The three candidates on that stage are Andrew Yang, Marianne Williamson, and now Bernie Sanders are the only three to really speak up. The eyes from Cory Booker. Where's the squad? Where's AOC?
I heard, Johnny,
now.
I don't know if you can find this, Johnny, but if you can, I heard Cory Booker said in an interview that this was off limits.
Beto kind of said some stuff.
Beto did. I have it here. We're going to discuss it. Yeah. I have all the stuff that all people's reactions, but this is literally breaking news. So we kind of took us off guard because we wanted to, we were going to speak about all the people who defended Bernie and how some of these people are Tulsi and how some of these people are being vilified now because of it. And there's this kind of sort of double edge thing going on within the Bernie campaign too, like people differentiating and what their tactics and stuff, and it's very clear and very obvious. But do we have to say hi to some people?
Yeah, I'm going to say some hi to some people. I'm going to set you up here on the dock in 2 seconds. We're going to start with your stuff, and then we'll matriculate back into what I want to say. I want to talk foreign policies. I want to remind everybody what Ukraine was 5 years ago. But before we get to that, we're going to deal with all the stuff pertaining to this. And I just want to also say, too, before we get started, before I mention some names, ladies and gentlemen, our last show, we had a lot of great super chats. We had a lot of people following. We are close to 5,000 views on that last video. We've been being suppressed. Our subscribers have been going down. So we really need you to really push forward right now. Share this link. Share our shows. Tell people to subscribe to the CONVO Couch right now. We are raging against the machine. And that's why we're on other platforms like Rockfin. If you haven't gone to our Rockfin, please do so. It's a cryptocurrency-based platform, and it has been growing left and right. And on debate night, we were able to stream the whole debate with just holding up signs so you can hear the debate and then hear us on the commercials. And it's important that we present a product like that when we do these debates because we don't want to be distracting. We don't want to make it about us. We want to make it about the candidates, and we want to just provide the essence. And we don't want to watch the corporate coverage. So that's why we need you to go over to Rockfin. We also have a Twitter. We have a Twitch, Periscope, too, as well. We never acknowledge that. Thank you so much. If anybody's following us out there on those platforms, we love you. And, of course, on our Facebook, Let me say hi to a few people because we have Elizabeth Bergen, Netherlands, who just joined. We have Jeannie True Jenkins. We have Dolores Piers. We have Tracy Moyer. We have Julian Espina. How you doing? And, of course, Steve Wilbrandt. We love you, Steve Wilbrandt. Always love you.
Steve, what do you guys think about Bernie's tweet? Please. We want to hear in the comments from everybody.
On the YouTube. By the way, just before I get to the YouTube, some things going on, family. Just tell them about. We're going to be on Heartlands today, Heartlands Media at 5 o'clock Pacific time with Kit Cabello and his crew. They're going to be interviewing us. We're going to be talking about a bunch of fun stuff in electoral politics. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be on, me and myself, and with Nico House. We're just going to talk about World War I as a regime change and then do our super show after. On Wednesday, we're supposed to have Sham Sharma on our show to talk about the RSS and how it developed and what's going on in India to try to get a little bit more grasp of what's going on. And we're still reaching out to people on the other side who are anti-Modi, who are kind of that thing. So we're going to still play around and find more people. And on Friday, you guys asked for it. Michael Cruz, Cheyenne, we love you. You guys asked for it. We're going to have Steve Grumbine, 7 p.m. We're going to talk MMT for Dummies, Steve Grumbine from The Real Progressives. So we have a loaded week, and every day we're supposed to do our show on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You get to see Fiorella and my beautiful face do our regular show as well. The brains and the beauty will be coming at you. Of course, saying hi real quick, and I'm going to kick it to Fee because you got a lot of stuff to talk about. Hey, Zeus Zamora, what's up? Karen M., Jordan Allen, California for Tulsi. Woo! We love the fact that you're watching us. We've been seeing you in the chat a lot lately, and it's great. LMC 007. A dingo ate me baby. Must be from, that's a great one. Must be from Australia. We love you. Tony watches closely. We always pay attention to you. We love to see you on there, Tony. Naz Kalido. There's some new people on here. It's great. Dash Hoost. We love you. We've seen your name out there a lot. Alex M. Thank you so much. Burnt offerings. That's when Fiorella cooks meat. I
don't cook meat. So.
That's why when she does cook meat. Val talking about the attic. She's here as well. I love you, Val. Thank you so much. And Jacques Leo. And if we missed you, Heidi Odell. Fiorella says, Val says, hi, Fee. Hi, Pasta.
Hi, Val.
And hi, Johnny. Let's get started, fam. Let's talk about here. I'm going to put the right up there.
Yeah, I'm going to put this.
You want to talk about the Bernie AOC rally first?
So let's just quickly go over the Bernie AOC rally. So just show the pictures because this rally reportedly had over 25,000 people. It had close to at least 26,000 people that they counted. And there were also the people on the outside, the people that couldn't get in.
Yeah, like last time in L.A.
Yeah. And those people, that rally was bigger than most candidates' normal rally. So just these pictures shows you the amount of support this man has. And the media wasn't really propping it up. They would kind of talk about it, but nobody was really airing it. I think C-SPAN was airing it for a little bit. Yeah. But, you know, what sparked the most controversy in this rally? Well, one of the things that I'm just going to mention was if you saw the rally, you saw when Tiffany Caban actually was out there, she was introducing AOC, but people started shouting, "You got robbed. You got robbed." And she did, and there's infinite proof of that. But aside from that, she didn't address it. It was like, okay, she didn't address it. And I know she didn't want to make it about her because this is about Bernie and AOC and the endorsement. So I understand that. But, you know, the people want accountability. The people want you to talk about election integrity. So I think from here on out, everybody needs to pay attention to that because they're not paying enough attention to that. And she, as a candidate, I've been waiting. I follow her on Twitter. I've been waiting for her to talk about it. And I haven't heard much. So I hope that underneath it all, people are still investigating what exactly happened there because there's no way. I mean, there's plenty of evidence everywhere, you guys.
I like when they say, how can you bring up 2016 again? Meanwhile, Russiagate. Right. You can't deal with the fact that you lost the election because your candidate sucks and you want to push it on this Fugazi Russiagate conspiracy that started in the Ukraine, and that's why they also did the impeachment stuff right now to try to distract you from what's really going on. But I think that it was the beauty of first when Tulsi was saying she was going to boycott the debate, she talked about they cheated Bernie Sanders in the election in 2016.
Right, exactly.
There has never been any accountability, and I said this to Jane Albrecht, who is also that Malibu and Curry Dobson knows Jane Albrecht, the one who obfuscated the question would Tulsi stand up for us and fight if they cheat us again when she said yes, okay? nobody talks about it, and there can be no unity until there is accountability.
Absolutely.
And that's why I always push for that kind of progressive, libertarian kind of bond, because I don't think the neoliberals are going to ever fess up to it, and I don't think they're going to stop cheating until somebody's held accountable. Sorry.
I 100% agree. So,
I drink a lot of coffee.
Now that we've digressed,
let's do it.
Now that we digress, let's go back to what Nina Turner said, because that was one of the controversies that I've been hearing all about from Warren supporters, from the centrists, right? Let me just read what she said, and then I think you can play the video, Johnny. So she said, there are people who didn't have the same guts and the same courage as Senator Sanders to run in 2016. There are some people who sat on the sidelines when it was hard. There was only one person who stood up to the establishment, and his name is Bernard Sanders.
Well, it was two.
Well, but she's talking about the candidates who ran.
Yeah, I know.
And when I say, Queens, that there's nobody quite like Senator Bernard Sanders, I mean that. We got some folks in mainstream and the neoliberal side who really can't understand the difference. But I'm going to break this down for you. There are many copies. There are people who didn't have the same guts and the same courage as Senator Bernie Sanders to run in 2016.
She's told.
There are some people who sat on the sideline when it was hard. There was only one person who stood up to the establishment, and his name is Bernard Sanders.
Okay.
And when I say, Queens, that there's nobody...
Absolutely. She was absolutely talking
guys,
about
are you starting fights again? All right, guys, can you please distort the truth so that we don't have to get in an argument? We need to unite.
So you saw, we don't have it now, but you saw the Atkins bros, right? I don't want to call them bros because I don't want it to be confused.
Is that his father or his brother?
No, his brother. They're twins.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. So the Atkins brothers,
brain.
the Atkins brothers were, it's a shame that when Bernie Sanders does something great, like having someone like AOC endorse his campaign, he has to come back with someone like Nina Turner defending Tulsi Gabbard and, speaking ill of Elizabeth Warren. I mean, they went on this thing. And if you don't know who they are, one of them is involved in the California Democratic Party. They're complete centrist neoliberal types. They smear progressives all around, and so they're political types of the establishment, and so they've been pushing this idea, and so have a lot of other people. Like, how can Bernie shouldn't have attacked Warren through Nina Turner? Nina Turner is doing this, and so we've been seeing that backlash against Nina Turner, right?
Yeah.
And then we've also seen the other side of the spectrum, where meanwhile AOC endorsed Bernie Sanders, and that was a wonderful moment. People were scared that she wouldn't do it, and she did it, and it's great because that's going to, bring hopefully people of color and these go after these districts where they're heavily
about this here.
Heavily populated. But then of course AOC has to go.
Yeah.
And
this is what I'm growing up. I'm sorry I looked at the board because Johnny was. This is what made me grow, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're not on the same team.
We're not.
Didn't we put these people there, fam, to fight against the establishment? Isn't that why we supported these people?
So
what has happened?
So logically looking at this, aside from my emotion, I'm thinking this is her tactic to try to sway a lot of her supporters who are centrists to maybe come to Bernie Sanders' side by being nice to Elizabeth Warren and the centrists. I don't agree with it. I don't like it, but I can see this is a tactic. She also had another tweet where she was thanking Hillary Clinton for her actions in CHIP, but I want Medicare for all. And I mentioned that in my Twitter as well. Like, I don't really like this. I see what she's doing. But this is kind of a part of a tactic to try to get, the centrists. The reason I disagree with this tactic is because I don't believe he's going to get them. I don't believe they're ever going to vote for him. Yeah. They have said to her multiple times, we like you, we love you, but we're not going to vote for Bernie Sanders. Yeah. So I think Bernie Sanders' tactic should be focused on getting the non-voters, the independents, and the Republicans like it was in 2016. If he had done that same thing, we would have another story. But I think now it's more like he's focused on the centrist votes to win the primary. Yeah. And this is the reason I see Tulsi, it's beneficial that we have two progressives because Tulsi is getting those votes from everybody else across the aisle.
Yeah.
And so that was what Bernie was doing. And now that he's not doing it as much because of the whole, centrist appeal thing that is going on.
Yeah.
And, and it's not like he's going light on his leftist policies. I mean, he's going for, federal jobs guarantee. He's going for Medicare for all, medical debt forgiveness, student debt forgiveness, everything. These are like not centrist ideas, but it's more along the lines of how they're just so they're so accepting of this, right?
And I think when you say centrist too, you want to talk about when it's like establishment kind of like oriented neoliberal, what Nina Turner said, and I agree she's not going to get them because I think people kind of like they think centrist, they might think different things. A lot of people think that centrists are somewhat kind of libertarians or like that's what a lot of people think because that's do have progressive views. That's how it is in the worldview, but not in the worldview. And exactly, that's what I'm saying. What's that scale? We talk about the scale that they meant. If we put ourselves on that certain scale, our liberals are more to the center than our. You know what I'm saying, that we don't have the true.
Our liberals are
populists.
Actually center or right.
Yeah.
Like Elizabeth Warren would be a Republican in that scale, and Elizabeth Warren is like the leftist of the liberals. So, we're not on the same team, you guys. Bottom line, and I think AOC might have to do that same thing with Bernie. Like, okay, whatever. But the people on the ground, as supporters, grassroots, whatever you want to call yourselves, you must differentiate between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, or it's only going to hurt Bernie Sanders. And I can't say that enough. I don't like that these surrogates are doing that, but especially people on the ground, we must continue differentiating between the policies of the candidates, because that's all it is. Bernie's policies are far better, and not only that, he's going to follow through with them, whereas Elizabeth Warren, you don't know which way Warren she's going.
And it's not only the policies, it's the alignment. Let's be honest. I said this before. That picture of Elizabeth Warren and Hillary Clinton going out and waving, the fact that she would even align herself and be seen around that person says that she doesn't give a damn about what they've done, and she's going to align with them anyways. And like I said, I will never ever vote for Elizabeth Warren, and there are a lot of people out there like me. If it's Elizabeth Warren and Donald Trump, I am not voting for Elizabeth Warren. I'm just never going to do it, okay? Because I believe she is part of the establishment. I believe she is a proxy of Hillary Clinton, and the fact that she's still going around with her. Where's Elizabeth Warren's tweet defending Tulsi Gabbard, defending a veteran who's been fighting for this country?
I wouldn't be surprised if she did it, because now that everybody's doing it, now it's like, okay, but
show that picture, Johnny, because it just makes me look at this picture right here. That's how do you do this? This was as dumb as the same move of when she said she won't go on Fox News. It was just so stupid. Look
on the town hall,
Look at that.
Bernie benefited a lot by going in that town hall. He benefited so much by going on Joe Rogan. I mean, these are the things you need to do to win the country, not just your echo chambers. So let's go back to the defenders of Tulsi Gabbard, right? Because before Bernie Sanders came out with his amazing tweet and to shut everybody up, who was like, when's Bernie gonna defend her? Of course, we also had Nina Turner, who I skipped Beto. Let's go to Beto first, because he said something. We got to give him some credit, even though I don't really like Beto.
But it's the way he finished it off. It was stupid.
Yeah.
It was a real respectful comment. I dig it.
But the way he finished it off.
Correct. Tulsi is not being groomed by anyone. She's her own person. Obviously has served this country and continues to serve this country in uniform in Congress as a candidate for the presidency. And so I think those facts speak for themselves.
So yeah, that was fine. I didn't really have a problem with it.
Saying Trump is the Russian asset.
I don't know.
I think he pivoted to that eventually.
Maybe he did.
Which was like, okay, we get it. Your boogeyman is Donald Trump. We get it. So it's, once again, it's untrue there too as well. I'm glad he said something for Tulsi Gabbard, but he's still part of that clan. So I give him a half a dab. I give him kind of like the elbow. Like, give me the elbow.
I mean, yeah.
Give me the elbow. There you go. You don't get the fist.
I don't know. I thought that was brave of him to do. Okay, so the one person, though, that really, really did it for me was Nina Turner, because she straight up called out like she saw it. I love this woman.
Here is Nina Turner, and she's on NBC Live. MSNBC.
We went through a red scare in this country in the 1950s under McCarthyism, and I just think that it is wrong for people to level that kind of stuff at the Congresswoman with no proof. We know what people can do to malign and mess up somebody's reputation. She has served this nation. She's still serving this nation in the military. She's running for president, and she deserves respect for that. So if somebody got some, don't come at her like that, or any candidate. It's not just her, but any candidate. But I do believe, and I agree with Brother Van Jones when he put it out there, that some of this is some revenge for her supporting the senator in 2016 and really calling out the DNC. It's wrong. So whoever we support, we must never go that far and start to red bait.
And I love it because she's unapologetic, and she said so much without even saying too much, without saying the names, without like saying, oh, Hillary Clinton, blah, blah, blah. But she'll say it in a way that for sure that she's, which side she's on, and where she stands.
I love the way she kind of pivoted back to the 2016. Oh, this is revenge for anybody who stood up for Senator Bernard. You know what I'm saying? It's like she also brings that back into play. So she's always working, you know what I'm saying? And she's also getting people involved. Remember what happened, okay? Don't forget. Don't lose your outrage what happened. And this is about them cheating Bernie Sanders, too. So she obviously used that to a great advantage and was out there to be able to defend Tulsi as well. I love Nina Turner. Yeah, I love Nina Turner. She's amazing, so... What about Delaney?
Who would have thought? Yeah, right. Who would have thought, Mr. Let's invade regime change in Venezuela?
You know why I thought Delaney?
Why?
Because we saw Delaney at the Veterans Caucus at the KDM thing, and they were really cool to each other. I expected to see Klobuchar out there, too, as well. We didn't see Klobuchar, but Delaney, you got Delaney's tweet, my man? So real quick, we'll put up Delaney's tweet. Yep. Here he is.
Tulsi Gabbard's a friend of mine. We came into Congress together in 2012, so I consider Tulsi to be a very good friend. As best I can tell, there's absolutely no basis for any of those allegations. Now, I hold Secretary Clinton in the highest regard. I was a delegate for her in 2008. I was a huge supporter for her in 2016. I just think we've got to refocus ourselves on really the task at hand, which is beating Donald Trump. So Tulsi Gabbard's a friend of mine.
Okay. So, I mean, of course, the Democratic task is to beat Donald Trump. But we have a super chat from our man Crow, right?
Yeah, David Crow, new guy of the show, new watcher. Thank you so much, David Crow. David Crow also runs the Bernie Van. If you haven't seen the Bernie Van, it is a mobile machine of canvassing. It signs people up. It has tables. It has good sound. We were just in the park the other day. It was really cool. Check out the David Crow and the Bernie Van. Hashtag Bernie Van. We also have Mr. Orochi super chat contribution. TYT Pac-Man ETC ignored this Tulsi smear.
Of course they did.
Dude, if you don't see what TYT's about, ladies and gentlemen, they got a $50 million check. $20 million check, I'm sorry, that we know of from Katzenberg, okay? Just follow Katzenberg. He's one of the biggest Clinton donators out there, please. Do we miss any other super chats?
No,
taking a look.
I think we're good.
Taking a look, really good. All right, perfect. So thank you for the super chat contribution. Your super chat contributions are always appreciated on the couch. That's my catchphrase. What about Shaun King?
Okay, so
let's talk about this. This is serious here, fam.
This is really weird.
This is really weird.
Colin Tiernan, who's part of the Tulsi campaign, brought me to
love you, Colin.
Brought this to our attention. So Shaun King had tweeted his support of Tulsi Gabbard. For just defense, saying, look, I've known her for, he said he had known her for years. And let me see where it is, if I can read his original tweet. There we go. I've known Tulsi for 4 years since we worked together on Bernie's campaign. Accurate. She's kind, determined leader. She actively serves this country. Shameful to see her smeared. Until you've had millions of people lie about you and have the public treat it as truth, you might not understand what Tulsi Gabbard is dealing with right now. I've experienced it. It's hell. Hillary Clinton should never have said what she said, period. Okay, so...
Well, thank you for mentioning that.
He said Hillary Clinton by name. A lot of people, most of the people who have come out in Tulsi's defense haven't said Hillary Clinton's name. Even Nina Turner, she didn't say Hillary Clinton's name. So I don't know what happened, but somehow his tweet was deleted. We don't know why. We don't know who asked him, but his tweet was deleted somehow. So what? I don't know.
What do you think?
What do you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, who listen, I like Shaun King. I think he's pretty cool, but, a lot of times he does make things about himself, too. He even kind of mentioned in his tweets, I've experienced myself, it's hell. So it doesn't surprise me to see that somebody said, hey, man, you want your career to be whatever, or you want to be attacked, take it down. So I think he would take it down. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know who made him take it down.
Right.
I'm very curious who made him take it down, but it's somebody connected to the Clintons, obviously, and he did use her name. And I don't know why he took it down, because he gained so many props for doing that.
Yeah,
and then
so much props.
To take it down is even worse as if he had never said anything at all.
Yeah.
Now everybody's talking about the conversation of why he took it down.
Right.
I'm just going to put on the YouTube really quick and see on the chat and see if anybody's saying if we took it, if they have a reason. Super chat, no time said, Hillary said that so after Bernie and Tulsi get cheated, which they will, the DNC has a narrative in place to kneecap them if they run third party.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with that. But that's the thing. We know it's false. And the only way someone would run third party is if it was rigged. And I think they need to stop falling in line with that whole fear, well, we have to defeat Donald Trump. Well, we do have to defeat Donald Trump, but we have to defeat the mechanisms that led to Donald Trump in the first place. And so you're going to get somebody worse than Donald Trump eventually. This is the short game versus the long game. It is, we have to really push to watch our elections and do something if not. So
it says Tulsi is live, but so is the Convo Couch. Oh, snap.
Tulsi
what can we
is
do?
Live.
You can rewatch Tulsi's speech and knock it down later. Stay live with us now. We'll get to it. Shaun King is still fugazi, says burnt offerings. That's why I like this guy, burnt offerings. Your family.
Fams.
And Gil Flores says, I love you, Fee.
Fams, you want to see who the real Russian asset is?
Let's show him.
Come on. You got to compare these. Here's Hillary. Speaking with Putin. Here's Tulsi. Who's the real Russian asset? Who's the real Russian asset?
Listen, when you're inside the echo chamber and you know these things and you look at foreign policy, you'll know right away that Bill Clinton did a speech for the Kremlin Bank and got paid for it big time. And also in exchange, Hillary Clinton was then able to give a lot of uranium to Russia. They have a lot more connections in business. Donald Trump tried to do business in Russia and he failed. They wouldn't let him in there.
Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard was fighting a war pushed by a warmonger, and then of course the proxy wars that have since been there because of Hillary Clinton. These wars that her and her husband and all of these neoliberals started. This is why it's so personal to her, and this is what we're going to see in a few minutes. So why is everybody going after Tulsi Gabbard, right? Why are they going after her? It's because her stance is against U.S. imperialism, directly profiting, which is something directly that profits the queen of warmongers herself, Hillary Clinton. So let's look at this video, fam, because Max Blumenthal retweeted Sophia.
I love
and
Max.
That was great.
I love me, Max. Mad Max, I love you.
Sophia, who doesn't sleep like I do.
The gray zone.
Yeah,
Excuse me, Johnny, can you acknowledge I got it right? I didn't say Greystone.
Okay, congratulations, boss.
You know what they say? They always say that I say... And they say Greystone, that you know what they said? Ting tanks. We do. And I got to get that right. Ting tanks. I want to make a thing that says hashtag Ting tanks. It's a new thing. But I love Max Blumenthal. This is awesome. I'm glad you put this in here.
There was a study that was released at the end of 2016 documenting 81 elections in 47 countries between 1946 and the year 2000, where the United States either overtly or covertly sought to influence the outcome of elections in these countries, and were successful more often than not. And this doesn't include any of the CIA or military regime change overthrows that also happen in addition to this. So, as recent as the Iraq War, during the Iraq War, we paid millions of dollars to plant propaganda articles in Iraqi newspapers, sought to influence Russia's elections in 1996. I say all this is to raise the question about if someone turns on cable news today and to hear a lot of the conversations here, one would think that Russia's actions in 2016, this is the first time this has ever happened.
Right. So she's literally going after the hypocrisy of the United States, the regime change wars, the imperialism. She's saying things that I haven't really heard very many people say at all. And so that is exactly why they're going after her. And before we move on to the next subject, I just want to show the very beginning of this ad from...
Did you read what Max said? I didn't get a chance to read it.
Oh, yeah, if you want to read it. Yeah.
I'd love to read what Max says. If you wonder why every other retired spook, which is like a CIA agent, whatever... Well, the Twitter account is melting down about Tulsi's campaign, then watch this. And that's what it was all about, because these people who go on CNN, MSNBC, with contracts still, these are ex-CIA, that's what spooks are, spies. And they sit there and they propagate and perpetuate their regime change war mentality, their imperialism, and why we need to get involved. They demonize leaders, and they manufacture consent to go in and overturn these governments.
And just so you guys know, there was an article released today by The Nation where they're saying, a CIA guy supports our claim that Tulsi is a Russian asset.
Oh, yeah.
And they're pushing that now, too.
Is that the proof?
Of course, the CIA
is
guy
it the proof?
Like...
The proof we've been asking for? And the fact that somebody can say this, and, I put this on my Twitter, too. I said the fact that the establishment has turned these progressive lackeys into warmongering, regime change aficionados of sorts, that they accept this stuff is scary. I think there was a poll that somebody put out that 76% of establishment Democrats or centrists or whatever we want to freaking call them support the CIA.
Yeah.
76%. They were always the boogeyman. They were always the problem. They were always the people we were trying to get rid of. They were the government within the government, or whatever you want to freaking call it. When we say deep state, we're talking about there's people within the CIA and the FBI who've been there for 30, 40 years. These are not elected people that have high-ranking jobs and get to sway our public opinion any way they want to.
Exactly, fam. And just as a reminder, I want to remind people of who stood by Bernie Sanders in 2016, who stepped down from power and actually endorsed him. And I remember this ad very, very much, because I remember I have always been very anti-war. And when I saw what happened with Tulsi and how she stepped down and endorsed Bernie, to me, that was like, wow, somebody in power is actually supporting the outsider, independent guy that they were all saying was a socialist from Vermont.
Exactly.
That was an amazing moment. So let's look at the beginning of this ad. This is a Bernie ad.
Being a warrior is about believing in what you are fighting for and holding strong to those convictions. I felt a sense of duty, and I could not in good conscience stay back here in beautiful Hawaii and watch my brothers and sisters in uniform go off into combat. These are people and friends who we never forget and who we strive to honor every day that we are blessed to live and breathe. Bernie Sanders voted against the Iraq War. He understands the cost of war, that cost is continued when our veterans come home. Bernie Sanders will defend our country and take the trillions of dollars that are spent on these interventionist, regime change, unnecessary wars and invest it here at home. The American people are not looking to settle for inches. They're looking for real change. What I saw in Bernie was a heart of aloha. No matter who you are, where you come from in this country, that we are all in this together. My name is Tulsi Gabbard, and I support Bernie Sanders to be our next president and commander-in-chief.
So when you see that video, as I'm getting all teary-eyed, because let's not forget that Tulsi Gabbard is one of those people who was tricked, like many Americans, tricked into going to think that they were defending our country.
Right. And
then when we found out and you look down the rabbit hole and you found out what happened, it was just more about our imperialism, fam. It's more about doing what we normally do with all these countries, which are regime change wars.
And I was a child, obviously, when we went into Iraq, but I lived in a very Republican-heavy state of Missouri, and everybody was like, kill the Muslims, we need to go to war. Everybody, even the kids were very much pro war. It was all around you. I mean, who are you to go against that? Especially being young as she was too. And this ad though still speaks to me, and I feel that I wish that the sentiment of regime change war and of every unity and talking to all of them, I wish that was still heavily propped by the Bernie Sanders campaign. You do see the difference now with the it's still all about unity and everybody coming together, but not in the same vein. And I think what's missing is that Tulsi voice where it's like, okay, we need to focus our foreign policy. Even people who love Bernie say, the foreign policy now isn't what it was. And, that's my criticism of Bernie. I love Bernie for a lot of things, domestic-wise. He's great. But my criticism of him is his foreign policy. And that ad, to me, is what I wish something like that would happen now. And of course, Tulsi is running her own campaign, and in her own vein, she is great at what she does, especially focusing on the military-industrial complex. But I think combine those two forces, when I saw that, I'm like, that is probably an amazing ad. And a lot of people criticize Tulsi for not showing emotion. She can. And she's an introvert. When you're an introvert, you feel it inside. It's very hard for certain people to be very open and vulnerable in public, especially a public official. And I think that ad completely destroys any notion that she's a robot and has no emotion.
And I have a question before we get into the next topic, because it's really important, fam. And the question I want you to answer, because this has been coming up, and it's why I wanted to point out this next segment. And I wanted to point out in this next segment why Ukraine was a regime change war, and why I was so upset that when Tulsi did support impeachment, because I thought it took away, regardless of what Donald Trump was doing, and I still have not found anything that we can really prosecute him on when it comes to Ukraine, who comes forward. But Ukraine was a regime change war, and lives were on the line, and people died. But why is it important right now, as we see some of these people out there who just don't like Tulsi, to say, why does she always got to say regime change war? Why can't she say war? Why is it important to say the words regime change war?
Because if you just say war, it's just, you're talking about war, and a lot of people don't consider regime change wars war. It's a proxy wars. It's these regime change wars that are led with sanctions and us going into a government and involving ourselves in ousting that president or that leader, and changing their whole economy and creating civil unrest is a type of war. A lot of Americans don't consider that a war because it's not something like a World War II.
Yeah.
And unless they see like a full-on war, they don't consider it war. It is absolutely important to say the words regime change war, because any sort of regime change pushed by the United States is a war and creates wars, civil wars in those countries, and kills thousands and hundreds of thousands and ultimately millions of people, the majority being people of color. So Pasta gets upset when people who are all about people of color and in the United States don't really care or understand that our regime change wars and our foreign policy is exactly what leads to the deaths of millions of people of color.
It's because the mainstream media doesn't talk about foreign policy, and if they do, it's about all these terrorists, and it's about fear mongering, right? It's about
we have to go in there because we have to protect X person from this. We have to save them. We have to promote democracy.
And also, the deep state is, literally suppressing any foreign policy discussion. All the videos on YouTube are demonetized if you mention anything about foreign policy. Ecuador.
Remember China? Remember Hong Kong? Remember Hong Kong when we said, and then we signed that day, we Puruka, YouTube shut down 200 channels reporting what was really going on in Hong Kong. And the whole time we're saying, there's a sense of organicness that's coming from there. But for the most part, these are paid protesters. These are funded by the NED, which is the National Endowment for Democracy, which is anything but what its title. It's not. There's no endowment for democracy. It's for the National Endowment for Regime Change is what it should be called. And all these NGOs which pump money into these protests because there are geopolitical allies, or the deep state wants to create more of an enemy and then want to send battleships to the China Sea. So they prop up and they perpetuate these regime change to do so and get a free pass on doing anything. I'm going to read a super chat really quick from our man David LH. Thank you so much for your super chat contribution, and it's always appreciated on the couch. Hey there.
You are so corny.
Has there ever been a political party as broken as the Democratic Party is now? Not that I've seen. Even the Whig Party, I don't think, was ever under the thumb of one political dynasty like the Dems are under the Clintons. That's right. You know what, Dave LH? Is that Dave LH? Yep. Such a great, interesting point to bring up. And let me just say some hi to some people before we move on to the thing, because since we're talking about regime change, I want to remind you out there, because you might not have been on the ball. Ukraine was a regime change war, and it was supported by the EU, the European Union, and America with all the NGOs. We had ties from Obama, the Soroses, and many other people. And I want to talk about the leader and what he did to the people of Eastern Ukraine. And I have some video from one of my favorite shows, Crosstalk, 5 years ago. So give us your opinion, too, real quick. Go to our Convo Couch Twitter, tell us why you think that we should use the words regime change instead of just war by itself. Regime change, war versus war, because it's been really upsetting to me why people don't mention it. So
regime change wars lead to huge world wars.
Exactly.
So
World War One.
Nip it in the bud. Exactly.
That we're going to talk about that tomorrow with Nico House.
Yeah.
If you want to join on in, you want to jump on that too, you should do that. But we're going to talk about it tomorrow at 1, and then we're going to have a regular show at 2. In Jorgen Benj, or Berg, excuse me, thank you so much. Nancy Kirtley, hello, thank you so much. Asto Verzer 2, Lori C, B Green. We have so many new watchers. We have over 310 watchers right now. It's awesome. Riley Rage, Tim Flowbug. We always love Tim. And there's Goober Walla, Reefer Revolution Live. How you doing, my friend? MLL, Julie, David LH, who left us that super chat contribution. Thank you so much. Lori C, I probably said her name 5 times. Paul BSO Gaming, how are you? Good to see you. Fred Edwards here. We love Fred Edwards. Thank you so much. And also, Tony watches closely, is still watching. Could somebody go look up and see where Michael Cruz is at? Is Ungi on the Facebook? Where's our Facebook?
He's chilling with the grandchildren.
He's with the grandchildren, but somebody get Ungi. Melissa Michelson, we have 52 people watching on our Facebook. Thank you so much for going. We have almost 80. We're close to 77 Patreons. We need a couple more Patreons. I got to put a video up there. Fee put a great one.
I have another one coming.
Cheyenne Tierra, thank you so much. Mrs. T, it's always great hearing you, seeing you. Thank you so much. You got some great stuff to say. We love our Cheyenne. Amberly Aurora Grego, thank you so much. Did I say her name right? You looked at me funny. Oh, Christian Guzik, how you doing, buddy? How's your fantasy? I'm stinking it up this year because I'm watching too much politics. Thank you so much for on our Facebook. We love you guys all. Politics. Get on over to our Convo Couch Patreon.
Want to say hi to David Cohen
Go ahead.
On Rockfin.
Hey, Dave.
Let's see. There's a couple people on our Periscope. What's up?
Hi, Periscope.
MHHS at Julie Smith at Beeb Jacer. Yeah.
What's up, guys?
What's up, too? Is anybody on our Twitch?
No, there's no one on Twitch.
Nobody on Twitch.
So we've covered Bernie's tweet from Tulsi in support of Tulsi Gabbard. We've covered everybody who supported her. The Bernie AOC rally. Nina Turner is like the bestest of the best.
She is.
We've shown that.
She is.
And even Beto and Delaney can say good things. And so now we're talking about
regime change war in the Ukraine. Because I want to just go back. I want to circle the wagons. It's a great time to go back and look at what happened. Because you have to understand what we did was really disgusting. We actually supported, and this was during the Obama administration, neo-Nazis in a party to take over parliament in the Ukraine. And there's no denying that. There's no denying that. And then we stopped selling them weapons, and we let Israel sell weapons to the neo-Nazis. So when we say all this stuff about defending themselves and they're going to be the victim again, bullshit. They're funding the Netanyahu government has funded neo-Nazis in the Ukraine, and there's no hiding that. We talked about this over 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago when we were doing our show. We put this stuff out. But let's connect the dots because there's a man I want to start with, and the guy who started it all, his name was Petro Porkchop Poroshenko. I called him Porkchop.
Oh, okay.
That is my nickname for him. I actually, one of my favorite guys, and don't get me started, but Poroshenko eventually became the president of the Ukraine government that started in a regime change of what happened in 2014. And it was a violent regime change. It was a deadly regime change. Ukraine has always been split in two, with Eastern Ukraine being more ethnic Russians. It was a part of Russia at one point, and they are very different than the people in the west part of Ukraine who are very tied to the European Union. And there's a lot of, once again, there's a lot of neo-Nazis and there's all that stuff in Western Ukraine, and it's kind of disgusting. Now, the goal of this whole this regime change, once again, fam, is we wanted to put a knife in the side of Russia. It was a proxy war. Again, you know what I'm saying? We also wanted it to cause chaos and get them away from Russia. So we looked to make our mark right there when we saw a little bit of upbringing. And don't get me wrong, in a lot of these countries, like in Syria, like in the Ukraine, there are protests going on. Just like there's protests going on in this country, there's protests going on in France. Are we jumping in France and backing those?
No.
Are we backing the yellow vest right now?
I wonder why.
Are we backing the people?
Are we backing the Haitians?
No. You know what I'm saying?
Ecuador?
So, because there's no interest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Mark Sloboda, he's one of my favorite guys. This guy lives in Moscow. He teaches at the University of Moscow.
You're a Russian asset, aren't you?
I am a Russian. I'm a Russian favorite, okay? He also has family members in Ukraine, so he was really up to date on this stuff. And I loved watching Mark Sloboda. Now, here he is 5 years ago on a tweet, and I put down 5 years ago explaining the hostile and violent regime of Poroshenko killed and terrorized the citizens of eastern Ukraine. Let us not forget that pork chop, that's my nickname, Petro Poroshenko, was an oligarch backed by the EU and the US. Hashtag regime change war. Hashtag Ukraine gate. Now look what he says.
And he retweeted you, right?
He retweeted me. I was so happy.
Oh, nice.
That's what a foreign policy. And I was like, Mark Sloboda. Now, I'm sorry, Mark Sloboda, if you're watching the show, you became in second place for my Halloween costume. Maybe next year I'll be you for Halloween, but this year I'm going to be Peter Lavelle for Halloween. I'm going to go get the Peter Lavelle haircut, the suit and stuff.
I think I want to be Elizabeth Warren trying to be Bernie Sanders. I think that would be a great costume.
Yeah! So let's take a look at this little film. I cut this up from 5 years ago. And if you get the chance, go back and watch Crosstalk 5 years ago, and you can unfold the whole Ukraine situation. They were on top of it.
And I think that there is a great deal of resentment now within eastern Ukraine against the Russian government because of this. I mean, these are people that are dying by the scores every day with prayers to Russia to save them on their lips. And the Russian people really expect that, maybe not through a direct military intervention, but at the very least that the Russian government should give the people of eastern Ukraine the financial, military, and other support it needs to defend itself on equal terms. And really, for Mary Dejevsky to describe the election, quote unquote, of Poroshenko as legitimate is really, in my opinion, an obscene caricature of the democratic process. We had a literal pogrom going on in this country where opposition party members were beat repeatedly within an inch of their lives. There was assassination attempts on them. Their offices and houses were burned to the ground. We have video seeing opposition party members literally tortured on the Maidan Square by mobs. All right, and just 2 weeks before the election, when there was massive turnout in a referendum, a self-organized people's referendum to distance themselves from this regime in Kiev, on that day, the regime was shelling and killing the people in an attempt to vote against it. So I think it's really quite cynical and hypocritical of anyone from someone who considers themselves a democratic country to describe the regime of this oligarch Poroshenko as legitimate in any way.
So once again, he said the oligarch Poroshenko. Once again, I talked about this. It's a bunch of oligarchs making a move with ties to the European Union and the United States that want to get the government out there. And once again, you can see that they try to make Putin the boogeyman. Within his own country, people were encouraging Putin to get involved, and Putin was trying to stay back, okay, because they were saying, these are our people in eastern Ukraine. They are begging for our help, and as soon as he sent in some aid to help them, or the Russian separatists themselves went over there that wanted Ukraine to be safe, they started demonizing Putin and make it look like he was the one causing problems. Meanwhile, they were getting killed and tortured, and once again, by Nazis, neo-Nazis within this party, killing people, and the people of eastern Ukraine begging for help.
But why are you defending Putin, Pasta? Why are you being such a Russian?
Because I'm a Russian asset, number one.
No, but I mean, like, seriously, what would you tell people that?
Well,
say
because
you're
I don't want to be at war with our biggest geopolitical adversary for many years. This country has weapons. This country has the ability to blow it up. They are the other major power along with China. And once the United States wants to share that power, the peaceful we will be as a planet. I don't want to get saber-rattling with Putin. You know what I'm saying? This is about oligarchs gaining power. It's about individuals wanting more control over all the small people. So what do? They demonize Russia, and they try to thrust us into these wars and into these situations. And you can see the people of Ukraine were getting, and these were by Nazis. We supported neo-Nazis, fam.
So bottom line, even though Putin has done some things that would be considered undemocratic, even though he has ruled in a way that is autocratic, that does not mean that this isn't true, that the U.S. was backing a coup, another one, that was helping neo-Nazis and destroying and killing people in Eastern Europe. People need to be able to understand that a lot of the politicians that we vilify may not be necessarily good actors. There might not be good guys and bad guys. Everybody has dirt on them in these situations. It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray areas in foreign policy because, unfortunately, that's the way the world has been functioning.
Yeah, and it's a group. It's a bunch of oligarchs. We talked about Poroshenko, Pork Chop Poroshenko, and I say Pork Chop so you can remember the name because he became the president after the regime change. Pork Chop Poroshenko is an oligarch, and that's what Mark Sloboda was talking about. And oligarchs help their other oligarch friends, right? So now you take over Ukraine, you got control of their country, you can buy weapons. So what do? Ukraine launched a probe of the military sale by the fundraiser for Adam Schiff. You bring in your boy, okay? You bring in your boy Igor Pasternak, who's an arms dealer. Now, here's an article from the Liberty, and it shows. And once again, on this show, we talked about it. We showed that Igor Pasternak had fundraisers for Adam Schiff over here. So they're all working together. Hey, you help us out in your government and Congress. You get us aid, you get us money over here so we can overturn this government and we'll be in a line with you. And Igor Pasternak, if you look down, it says, it's an article at this one right here. I just want to show where it says that Poroshenko attended this opening right here. They gave them the contract. Right above that, I believe it is. Right there, that sentence right there. It says, Petro Poroshenko, the president of Ukraine, was there for the inauguration ceremony of this border surveillance system in 2017. So once again, the carpetbaggers got all into it. Poroshenko, Pasternak, Adam Schiff. This was a regime change from all sides. All people helping out, and once again, it was the Democrats, the party of Clinton, of Biden, who were carpetbagging and had their hands on it, and they perpetuated regime change. And you see how people got killed. They didn't care as long as they got their money, fam. And we should never forget what happened. Because just like Venezuela, this is an on-TV coup. They're okaying it, and there's not enough public pushback, except from certain candidates like Tulsi Gabbard, to say hands off Venezuela unequivocally. That's what we need going forward. That is what we did. That is the sins we were committing in the name of regime change war, in the name of imperialism. That is what we've done. That is the blood we spread, and we have to stop it. And next time it happens, and it's happening right now, we got to get on it. And that's why Tulsi Gabbard is my number one candidate, and that's why I love Bernie Sanders. He's my number two, and I hope they come together.
And this is interesting because now we're pushing the rebirth of the Neo-McCarthyism with calling Tulsi, Jill Stein again, Susan Sarandon, all these people Russian assets. And then I've already seen it, which I knew was going to happen, them associating Bernie Sanders as another Russian. They've been doing it, but it's going to happen again because Hillary Clinton's bots, of course, and all her little proxies are going to push for that. And that's a reason why many people were scared of him defending Tulsi, because they're going to say that. But that's inevitable. They're always going to say that, whether he says a word about her or not, they were always going to say that. We need to fight McCarthyism, period, regardless of who you like. The neo-McCarthy smears that are happening right now to politicians who refuse to engage in war and regime change war, who refuse to be the ones who vilify Russia so we can start another war. They're making it out to be like if you are somebody that wants peace, you might as well be a Russian asset. And some of these people, especially the older-minded people that only watch mainstream media, are buying it. Yeah. And that is very, very dangerous.
Some of the younger people who don't have enough time to pay attention to stuff because maybe they're working 2 jobs or long hours.
Exactly.
Or they're, you know what I'm saying, they're concerned with paying the rent and putting food on the table. They don't know what's going on. That's why we have to constantly point it out. And even the people, unlike Adam Schiff, the congressmen who are not that popular and whatnot, they are still anti-Russia on the Democratic side. It's a whole group of them, and it's really, really, we need to weed them out, get them out. We need to be, what's the word, primarying every single Democrat who's a pro-war imperialist neocon who agrees with them, and get them out. Adam Schiff, for one, needs to go. We have a $5 super chat from Reeve Barker. Sorry for saying the most. Newsweek says the evidence is clear that Tulsi is being used by Russia. Now, look, put this in. Johnny, of course, in 1s and 2s. This is why he said he's reading the crowd, Johnny. You can see they're liking this beat. So he goes to this album, he pulls it out, and he pulls out the article.
It's ridiculous.
Johnny, go ahead, baby.
Yeah. It's an opinion piece by Naveed Jamali, former FBI double agent and the author of How to Catch a Russian Spy.
Oh, thank you.
Opinion. Tulsi Gabbard's being used by the Russians into a former U.S. double agent. The evidence is clear.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Is this a funny article to read? I mean, when I saw it come up, and can we read the first?
We should
paragraph?
Look up who this guy is. In
oh
full.
my Lord!
You know what, fam? I was thinking. I was like, okay, all these smear articles. We need to write down who all the writers are.
Yeah.
And the authors. Can one of the fams do that? Can you start a Google Docs and add the combo couch at Gmail, and we just write down everybody and link the articles?
Oh, this guy. Oh, wait. This guy's got a little video. How long is it? Can we watch this? Oh, we got to watch this. Watch this donkey over here.
Let's watch a little bit.
Huh?
We'll watch a little bit.
Okay. Wow, look at this donkey.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm Naveed Jamali, and this is Newsweek Views. For 3 years, I worked undercover for the FBI on an operation to disrupt and uncover Russian intelligence efforts in the U.S. However, my interaction with the Russians and FBI counterintelligence date back 20 years to the 1980s, when a Soviet intelligence officer walked into my parents' New York City office. That cumulative experience watching and dealing with Russia for decades brings me to this conclusion. Russia's only ideology is harming the United States, and they will support anyone who can help them achieve that goal. So when Hillary Clinton said she believes that Russia has, quote, got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary, end quote, implying it was Tulsi Gabbard, I agreed. This doesn't mean that Gabbard's a Russian direct operative, or even has ties or is in contact with Russia. Rather, I believe that Gabbard's claims, such as Assad is not the enemy of the U.S., and that the U.S. is in a new nuclear arms race, are messages that Russia will seek to amplify and legitimize. The implication of these viewpoints are a way for Russia to create divisiveness and chaos in our political process. The solution is not to remove Gabbard or not have vigorous debates of ideas. Rather, it is to ensure that Russia can't unnaturally amplify any one message. Make no mistake, that is election interference.
Okay, I can't watch.
We could have finished up the bullshit. Oh my God, you had enough? Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, no,
oh my
terrible.
God.
He literally shows no evidence.
He's reading an
zero
article.
Evidence. Yeah, he's
reading from a script.
Someone says teleprompter.
I know, right? Somebody did say thank you. So much you could see that.
See, our fans.
So disgusting.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting. This woman has put her life on the line for the United States of America. People criticize her again for being too patriotic, for having the flag around. Some of the people on the left, like, she shouldn't be so patriotic. So now all of a sudden she's a Russian asset, or she has the Russian agenda. Like, it's disgusting. We are in a nuclear arms race. We are. Like, this is crazy. We don't want war with Russia. You know why Hillary wants war with Russia? Because she profits off of it. She profits off of dead kids. That's why she wants a war with Russia.
And her husband.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Oh God.
So what? You know, he said, "Oh, you know what she do? It's not. It doesn't mean we don't have discussions and differences of opinion. We just focus on how evil Russia is, and
so
we focus on the election interference that you didn't focus on in 2016. That the Democratic Party has yet to talk about. That even when we talk about it now, everybody's like, don't even bring it up because it just creates this idea that you're a conspiracy theorist. There's multiple evidence that this happened." And this is why we're not going to let it happen again, because there's no accountability. It's disgusting.
No,
so
there
mad.
can be no unity without accountability, and they don't want to do it. How to Catch a Russian Spy. Steve Wilbrand says, catch a Russian spy by the toe. If she hollers, let her go. Eeny, meeny, she's a Russian.
I want to know who this guy is. I'm going to go
Oh, my God.
This
guy, he was reading from a teleprompter. He was moving his hands. He was so awful. Just terrible. Danny O'Brien says, I'm hungry for pork chops because I made pork chop Poroshenko. See, I shouldn't be doing that. Steve Wilbrand says, hi, we love you, Steve. Victor Valdez.
Hi, Victor.
Cheyenne, she's still hanging out. Melissa Michelson, it's been a long time. Come on over. I'll make you a cheeseburger, girl.
What up, Soul Construct?
How you doing? Christian Guzik still there. Thank you so much. We have 61 people over on the Facebook, 323 on the YouTubes. Most of the people we already said hi to. Weezer Sakuraba. How do you say that? We're Sakura, whatever you say. Michael Cruz, hi Convo. We're leaving the show. Where you been? 2 Leister shows up. You guys showed up late.
I got a few articles. I got a few things I want to show. Actually.
All right, Johnny's gonna close us out the show because then I got to make them Beyond Burgers because it's No Meat Monday and we got to eat before Kit Cabello. So here goes Johnny to close out the show.
So real quick, I was on Instagram and I saw this. Yesterday, I guess it was 2 days ago. Was the Bernie rally, and the next day, NBC News, Bernie Sanders struggles to rebound. Staffing strategy health.
Did somebody send them? Can we post I want to post the pictures of all those 28,000 people that were at this rally.
Yeah. Nobody fills out the stadiums like him.
Are you serious? How does that even make sense? How does that make sense? How does it make sense that in the latest Iowa poll, I'm sorry, Tulsi's only polling at 3%. Bernie's polling at 8%. Bernie's 4th behind Warren, Buttigieg, and Biden.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Get outta
I don't buy that for 1 second. There's no way.
Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think they're going to let Tulsi on the debate stage now? I do not think so.
Yeah, right.
Saul just came on in. Saul, how you doing? Thank you so much. We got to get out of here. You got another thing? Yeah. Johnny's got more. Hold on.
So, I just brought the article up, and we can see Julia Jester and Gary Grumbeck are not trustworthy. So
Julia Jester, again.
Let's see here.
Again, Julia Jester.
I kind of wanted to show this Van Jones thing.
Let's do that. Yeah, this was an awesome one. You're right, Johnny.
She is Hillary Clinton. She's a legend. She's going to be in the history books. She's a former nominee of our party, and she just came out against a sitting U.S. Congresswoman, a decorated war veteran, and somebody who's running for the nomination of our party with just a complete smear and no facts.
She called her a Russian asset as a fact, and as you point out, sitting U.S. Congresswoman.
A sitting U.S. Congresswoman. Now, this is a very, very dangerous game, and there's a backstory here, and there's 2 sides to every story. Let's not forget, Tulsi Gabbard was picked out by the Democratic Party establishment and put at the top of the DNC. They thought she was going to be their golden girl. And she got in that position, the DNC, and she looked around. She saw Debbie Wasserman Schultz and other people, Clinton allies, doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing in the primary. And Tulsi publicly quit and then endorsed Bernie Sanders. And it's been payback hell ever since.
And that's what we are here. But
payback hell ever since. She is Hillary.
Yeah.
Wow. It's brave of Jones to actually say that, especially Aaron Burnett, who's pretty establishment as they get, but even she had to admit later on that this is no facts. I mean, this is there's no facts behind what Hillary Clinton's saying. She even said totally, when she was being interviewed, totally, it's bad. And he's
Van
right
Jones,
though. He's gotten down pat. This is all been going on since she stepped down. She was the promised one. She was the one they were going to try to make chair. She was the one that they were like, great, she's military, she's a woman of color, she's patriotic, she's fought in wars, she's a veteran, so we can get her to fight for more money for wars, you guys, right? Yeah. Oh, she's great. And then all of a sudden Tulsi Gabbard comes back from her experiences and sees what's going on, and she's like, no. Well, I'm not going to be a part of this. And then after that fact, after 2016, she stopped taking PAC money. Absolutely. She completely became a Bernie surrogate.
So I want to say this too much because I thought today we would hear that Van Jones has been fired by CNN. They haven't done it, but Van Jones, when they fire you, and they will because you're going to speak too much of the truth and you can't do that, we have a spot for you here over in the Convo couch. We will make it big, and we will make the couch for 3 people for Van Jones. Because when you say stuff like that, you step up, and I'm not always happy with what you have to say. I still love your speech about drilling oil and how it's taking death and putting it into the air. It's one of the best things ever, and I'm going to find that. Hopefully we can play that tomorrow. Johnny, you want to hear a Van Jones speech that makes you want to cry? Van Jones just went off. He has his moments, and he has his bad moments. But once you are free, completely free, Van Jones, come over to the Convo couch.
And it's interesting because not only was it Van Jones, it was also, all these other candidates, I think, O'Rourke and Delaney. Mm-hmm. It just shows you maybe Tulsi can turn the tide inside of some of these corporatist people.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. She's the first one to make the move. It's always hard to get one person to do it, right?
She's a leader. People are recognizing that she's a leader, taking these stances, taking all these, going against Hillary.
The machine, yes.
Going against the military-industrial complex.
Which is a very, very powerful
Johnny, anything else?
Yeah, a couple of last things. I just want to show that Tulsi is still trending. If you put in Tulsi Gabbard into Google, all these articles from hours ago are still up.
Assad again?
Yeah, well, they're still making headlines about her. Let's see. Oh, okay. CNN Bill Clinton campaign press director smears Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I wanted to emphasize that the smears are still coming, and everyone's lying about this
video.
Yeah, so
I love videos.
I think a lot of Democrats were skeptical about Tulsi Gabbard before. She's aligned with Hindu nationalists. She's aligned with right-wing authoritarian figures like Sisi in Egypt and other figures, that are controversial that Democrats don't typically support. She's got an anti-gay past.
I believe that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man and a woman. It exists between a man and a woman going back into the mists of history as one of the foundational institutions of history and humanity and civilization.
I think a lot of Democrats were skeptical.
Yeah. So that was a great video.
That was a great video, Johnny. You need to put that. You need to retweet that on the Convo couch.
I retweeted it.
Good.
Live retweet. And then what was I saying? Oh yeah, I wanted to show this meme. Live look at Tulsi Gabbard torching Hillary Clinton's glass house.
Woo! Dirk Harris.
I wish you could see Tulsi on top of the dragon going, all right, let's do this.
All right. And I definitely want to emphasize that the smears are still coming, and I don't want to make you guys mad, but we got to watch this. The View.
Oh God.
Oh no.
The View. They talked about it.
Whoopi though.
They showed Clinton's.
Don't make me even more pissed.
They showed
Whoopi.
Clinton's the audio. This is what they say after.
So most people say she's clearly talking about candidate Tulsi Gabbard, and some other candidates are defending Tulsi getting called out like this. So what did you think when you heard that?
I mean, for me, honestly, Hillary's been dead on with so many things. She told us about Russia. She told us about the probable interference during the debate. She was Secretary of State. She has deep knowledge about world issues. I thought, where's the lie? I've often said that Tulsi is sort of the Trojan horse in this. I mean, she's polling only at 1.2%, yet she's still in the race. You have her being touted by people like Fox News personalities like Tucker Carlson. She's endorsed by sort of the Russians.
David Duke.
David Duke. She has basically renounced that, but she's never renounced the Russian support. There have been about 20 Russian bot websites that have supported her since she's announced
Which
her
websites?
Run for the presidency.
She tweeted back and called Hillary a warmonger. Okay, so that does not do anything for me. She hasn't denied it. She hasn't said anything in her tweets. How dare you? It's outrageous. Of course I'm not.
Listen to what she says.
She's just going after Hillary. And like you said, Hillary was right about almost everything. She's been exonerated with that nonsense that they pulled about her server already. And this idea that she's doing this to get back in the race, that she said that also, Tulsi, I don't buy that either. I don't think Hillary wants to go through it again. So I think that there's something, I don't say that Tulsi is an agent. I just think that she could be a useful idiot the way Trump is a useful idiot to the Russians. Yeah. That they see something. They say, oh, look, a useful idiot. Let's play this. And another point, the Republican Party knows that they cannot win without interference from Russia and maybe a voter suppression. They cannot win. Yeah. People in this country are against him now. And so they have to have it. And she's a perfect person to throw right in the middle of this. She's a perfect foil.
Did anybody defend her?
Is Meghan McCain there?
No. What did the other two people say? Did they say anything, Johnny?
Yeah, they do.
I definitely want to see this.
You guys want to say anything about Joy Behar right there?
Oh, dude, I knew you were going to piss me off even more.
Miss Joy Behar,
No, because I used to like Joy. I used to love Joy. She was so great to Bernie Sanders. I used to like her on Back in Time, Bill Maher, when I used to watch Bill Maher.
She's not great to him anymore.
She's completely folded in. She's been rich for too long. She's not been out of her echo chamber. And everything she's saying right here is bullshit. And she's canceled for me. Sorry. Goodbye. That was the last straw.
She called Tulsi a useful idiot. Like, what
that's
the
ridiculous.
Tulsi's one of the most intelligent people I have ever come across.
You're a useful idiot, and you're not even useful anymore.
Regardless of how you feel about her, anything else, though, just saying that, just taking these sort of things as if they were fact with no proof, no receipts of her being a Russian asset, a Russian agent, and all the things they said about her, even Assad. She's criticized Assad multiple times, and that's not enough.
Yeah, and she met with both sides when she went there. The scum of the view are spooks.
They're awful.
And them saying that Hillary Clinton has gotten everything right. Are you fucking
She's gotten
kidding?
literally every. There is like one thing maybe she got right, and that was chip. And AOC pointed that out. Other than that, she hasn't gotten anything right.
All right, so you want to see what everybody else
Please,
says. So.
I love to see the rest of this.
She wants to be, maybe. I don't know. She's coming here in a couple of weeks, so we can ask
I read
her.
this completely differently. I think for Hillary Clinton, one, she sounded like she had still an axe to grind in 2016. But if you have played the political game for so many years, how can you be this clueless? Because she, in those comments saying that Tulsi Gabbard's being groomed by the Russians, it makes her sound complicit with the Russians.
It does.
But it gives the Russians exactly what they want. They want the Democratic Party to be divided, right? If they like Tulsi Gabbard, they want more people to know Tulsi Gabbard. And so she was only promoted because of this. It really surprised me that Hillary Clinton wasn't smarter, more tactful in the way she talked about it. And frankly, if you're a Democrat, I think Tulsi has a lot to like. I think if anything, you should want...
No Democrat really likes her. That's why she's polling at 1.2%.
I think she adds something unique to the party. What the Democrats, in my opinion, what I think they're missing is where a lot of the middle of this country is. And I think she's an isolationist. Some people like that. She doesn't like wars. She's attracting people that I think you need that might vote for Trump.
She's only
that would
attracting 1.2%.
Look at when Jill Stein did it, and she's claiming that Jill Stein was a Russian asset in the last election. We didn't know it until after the election. Now we're looking at this with open eyes. Maybe we know it before. So that's a good.
Well, she may.
A word to the wise is sufficient.
Tulsi Gabbard may now go straight to the convention, and the same thing could happen again. Well, I just think Hillary Clinton be a little bit smarter. If you are going to throw stones from the sidelines, which I hate politicians if you're not in the race, then be a little more tactful about it when you speak. Because you're only hurting your own party.
Well, I think that the beauty of being an American is being able to say what you have to say and have other people say what they have to say, and then everybody has to prove their standing ground.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of America. You put it out there, somebody's going to make you prove it.
Whoopi likes Yang. Whoopi likes Yang. So
Whoopi's a neoliberal too, though.
Yeah, she is. They all are. I mean, they all make a lot of money.
They got money and they're in their own bubble. They haven't been able to.
That last girl wasn't as bad, and then she's like, it's like you're like a quarter of the way there, girl.
Yeah, they presented a quarter of the way other viewpoint. That's supposed to be the other side, right?
Yeah. But everybody else.
But Abby Huntsman, whose father ran for president as well, really well known in New Hampshire, also has a lot of ties to China. Himself, girl.
So then, real quick,
take it easy with your daddy.
I want to emphasize that as of when I first loaded this, it had 468 dislikes to 379. I'm going to refresh it right now. Let's see where it's at.
Hillary Clinton surprised a lot of people during a podcast interview where she gave this ominous forecast.
794
presidential election.
It has more dislikes than likes.
Ratioed.
More dislikes than likes.
You've been ratioed. The View. That was trash.
It was.
That was such trash.
Well, I can't believe Joy is there. And that one girl, Sunny Host, I mean, she's just a...
Oh, she's terrible. She's playing at 1.2%. She's playing at... No, she's not. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to make the last debates because they tried multiple times. She's playing anywhere from 3 to 6%. And in these terrible polls. So anyway, you guys, we gotta go.
We gotta get out of here. Thank you for watching. Make sure you get over to our Rockfin, ROKFIN. That is the way forward to keep on improving the whole platform. It is a cryptocurrency-based platform that really is kind to their creators and doesn't just rob people like YouTube is robbing us. For Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella Isabel,
Johnny Sue,
CONVO.
Peace.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, our Patreon. See you tomorrow.
Bye.